Welcome to the Professional Lovers Channel. I'm Al.
And I'm Patty, and we're the Professional Lovers. And if you've been here before, then you already know we've been married 27 years, and we have had the opportunity to help facilitate other couples, married, engaged, seriously dating. And so we bring that knowledge and that experience to this channel to talk about marital issues through the lens of married at first sight. So if you have not been here before, welcome. And we hope that you like the channel, subscribe to the channel, and share with other people who might be interested in not just talking about married at first sight, but actually hearing us talk about
relationships,
real issues.
Yeah.
And boy, do we have some to talk about tonight. But we're going to go in order of least drama to most drama, because
Crescendo.
you know the most drama is going to take the most time. Exactly. So we will talk about everybody, and we're going to jump right into it and begin with Jacob and Haley, who had really nothing to talk about.
That's not true. I mean, they actually had conversation.
They thawed out a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially at the Shark Aquarium dinner.
Yeah. Actually, I like the venue.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, and so, even though Jacob, comes across as real quirky.
He is quirky.
He comes across as quirky. And his, dry sense of humor. Mm-hmm. And she is, dealing with that. I think she might find aspects of it cute.
Yeah. But they're both navigating. I mean, in their own way. I think the age difference has a little something to do with it because even though she's younger, she's a lot more worldly. I think in his senior lifestyle, he's become a lot more regimented and he's held on to certain things for a long time.
Well, he's always been a loner.
Yeah.
And I think it just has, it has deepened the older he's gotten.
Yeah.
But, he's a loner and he doesn't have to leave his house to do anything really.
True. Well, I mean,
and you begin to miss some social graces, some social ease, interpersonal skills when you spend a lot of time alone. Yeah. And then she's been alone for 7 years outside of a relationship. Mm-hmm. So she's even having to learn how to re-navigate those things. Yeah. But I was just glad you could tell that the relationship has gotten less awkward.
True.
And hopefully that will continue.
It will continue, yeah.
Yeah, because when all the couples got together and they were hugged up just like everybody else, which was a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. So next couple with the least amount of drama is Brianna and Vincent, who, because of their connection with his grandma's health scare and her, of course, having his back the way she's supposed to.
She did. He appreciated it.
And it broke down walls.
Yeah. I mean, it allowed them to bond in a way that only something that severe and I don't know what would be the word.
Scary for him.
Intimate.
Yeah.
So that something that intimate where a family member has major illness and you're on your honeymoon and things are supposed to be different. But
and it's not just a family member. This is grandmother.
Yeah.
This is grandma.
Yeah.
Who
he used to take walks with in the Bronx.
So you like that Bronx thing.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
No place like it. Boogie down. That's home. For those who don't know. Now you know.
Brooklyn. Anyway.
I'm sorry.
We're not even going to go there. But yeah, so that situation brought them closer together faster than they thought would happen, and they did the do, and
they consummated their marriage.
Consummated the marriage and got all smiling and everything.
Appreciated each other with it and enjoyed, the gradual progression because
as
his
gradual
word-
as 3 days can be.
Yeah. Well, you got married. I mean, and it's not to say that it has to happen. That's not it at all. But when, it's like, getting your degree and going to get a job, it's almost expected to get the job that you want to get.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always happen that way. Most of the time it doesn't.
But they're still cute, and
Yeah.
they're playing footsies under the table in the sand and eating by the beach, which brought back memories
Yeah.
of us doing that
Not too
a
long
year and a
ago.
half ago
Yeah.
on a honeymoon, anniversary.
Number 25.
Anyway, but yeah, so, and of course it just leads you to think, what is going to be their dramatic conflict? Because it's not all going to be peaches and cream, and they know that it's coming, but at least they're enjoying where they are right now, which is where they're supposed to be.
True.
Which is,
The
all
honeymoon phase.
peaches and cream.
Yeah.
And everything is wonderful. So, all right, Virginia and Eric, our next couple, who had an interesting conversation about friends.
Yeah.
Because I think they're realizing, really, just how the age difference
creates variances in levels of belief
in different areas of life.
Yeah.
And with her being a party girl, her liking to go out a lot. And then she said she has a lot of guy friends because she feels more comfortable with guys.
She's raised with brothers.
And I know how that is because I was raised with 4 brothers. And I am the only girl. So I understand being more comfortable with guys than, I can't say that I'm more comfortable with guys than women. But, growing up, I mean, I had, friends of both sexes. And he talked about having a healthy jealousy. What is that?
Why are you asking me?
Because maybe as a guy, because I don't.
No, I mean, I try to
It kind of seems like an oxymoron to say healthy jealousy.
Well, because it's his way of saying protective.
Okay.
I believe
that's why I asked you.
Well, I believe that's his understanding of his way of saying protective. Because in that same conversation, he put all men in a category, which is not necessarily so.
But you remember when Harry met Sally?
Yeah.
That was the same conversation that they had, where Billy Crystal, playing Harry, was saying to Meg Ryan, playing Sally, that men and women cannot just be friends.
Which is not true.
And that's kind of what Eric was saying tonight, that the only men that a female could be friends with are men who are already engaged with another woman, like your friend's boyfriend or your friend's husband and gay guys.
Which is crazy, but...
Do you believe that?
No. But you don't have any other guy friends.
Actually,
no, that's
I do.
Not, I know you do.
I do. But here's the thing, and this is what we're going to talk about.
Right.
When it comes to married couples and friends. Especially if you get married older like we did.
Right.
And we have amassed.
Really?
You had
a life before
exactly.
each other.
You had female friends, girlfriends, male friends, boyfriends, and you get married and you don't just drop the friends.
True. I mean, that's part of your life. I mean, yeah, you don't, it's not a switch. It's just not a switch. But what they do become is they become each other's friends.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say. Here's our book, Becoming a Professional Lover, and we can start talking about some tips out of the book because, so one tip in this book says friends outside the marriage should be friends of the couple.
Yes.
So you have met guy friends that I had before we got together.
You can't find their bodies now, but that's okay.
And you become friends with them.
I have.
And I have met friends,
Friends of
female
mine.
friends of yours from before you got married, and I have become friends with them. We're not buddy with
She moved me to
all
a
the
whole nother
friends.
state.
Actually, you just talked to one last week, so get out of
Yes,
here.
I did.
All right then. So anyway, but that's the point. You bring them into the couple
Definitely.
circle.
Because again, as far as I'm concerned, as opposed to you trying to figure out how to maintain, and in your attempt to maintain and keep it separate, it creates an issue as opposed to bringing it in and being exposed and being vulnerable and incorporating it into your new world. That's how friendships build and they grow, and you alleviate insecurities.
And that's the issue. Insecurities. You don't ever want your partner to feel insecure because of past relationships.
Exactly.
Because when you get married, your partner is your
priority.
Your priority, and your partner's feelings is your priority,
which we'll get into a little deeper in a minute.
Yes. So, and so, I don't know that she's going to have to learn what it means to have friends being married, because, she's never been married before.
Right.
And I like your explanation of the healthy jealousy. He's protective, and the fact that he has to go out of town.
True.
15 days out of the month.
Yeah.
Which is leaving her to do what she does alone. And
that's the thing about it. I mean, when it comes down to a relationship, your partner becomes your priority. She's going to have to find a way to make him feel confident that everything is fine when he's gone, and
find constructive ways to deal with missing him, to deal with him not physically being there, to deal with, just the loneliness that can happen.
True.
And all of those things can become traps.
Exactly.
If you don't handle them properly.
Exactly.
And that's the biggest thing for them. So it'd be interesting to see how they navigate that.
Because ultimately they always kind of come back to a point where they accept those nuances. And again, it's...
Well, he already said that she was going to have to accept that lifestyle, because if not, then what's the point? Yeah. He's done.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it sounds abrupt, but it's true. That's his life.
That that's his job. Yeah. He's not going to give up flying. Career. That is his career. Yes. Yeah. And he's not going to give that up.
And he worked to achieve the level that he's at, and,
So hopefully they will begin to, work through that and process that. All right, Clara and Ryan. Now they had kind of a biggie.
Yeah.
As far as a discussion.
Yeah. And it becomes a biggie because it's fundamentally intense and foundationally very real. Fundamentally. When it comes down to...
I was just saying, we're talking about the spirituality.
Yeah.
The church foundation, the spirituality. And of course, Ryan is coming from a very spiritual home, faith-based home, where they did church regularly. His parents are ministers.
Both of them.
Okay. And it sounds like Clara came from a faith-based home.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was to the same degree as Ryan's, but
she bolted after the first year of college.
Christian college.
So as of 20.
And she sounds like she feels like it was forced on her. Okay, because that's her whole issue. So they're talking about kids, and well, they're talking about their differences and kids, and she asked,
potentially raising them.
Right, she asked if he would want their kids raised in church.
Yeah.
And he said, yes, absolutely. He feels that that's important. And it is a priority for him. And at least she did say, I'm not opposed to it, but I don't want my kids to feel like it's forced on them. Yeah. So my question, Al, to you was, at what age does that happen? Because kids are forced to do things up to a certain degree
True. With their household.
With anything that, especially if they don't like doing it.
True.
Okay, so so it'd be interesting to find out where she thinks that age is that you begin to let them explore on their own. And it can happen at different ages for different kids.
It does.
Because, every kid is different.
True.
And some kids are more mature in their thinking and what they like, what they don't like. So at least she didn't say, I'm open. But that can be a very sticky situation.
Very, very. I mean, to have a household that has a fundamental divide like that. Yeah.
Because that is a fundamental divide. Right. And so another tip out of our book here does say, God says two cannot walk together unless they be agreed. As in your values, you have to have common values.
Exactly.
Okay,
and that's the bottom line.
And so we're not saying, that the value is necessarily church, but spirituality is a value.
Exactly.
Raising your family with a moral foundation is a value. Mm-hmm. And if they at least agree on those values and how that plays out, it could be different in their household. Yeah. But if you're not connecting on fundamental values, then you're in for some real heavy conflict, especially when kids come on the scene.
Exactly. Because that's that unity. That's where that
connection
becomes influenced by your internal beliefs.
See, when you're just separate, when you have no kids,
I can go my way.
I can respect you. You can respect me. But when it starts, when it becomes a thing of how we're going to train our kids. Yeah.
You gotta have some true, even more than common ground. Mm-hmm. You have to have a solid foundation.
Absolutely. So again, it'll be interesting to see how they work through that. All right. So the rest of this video is going to focus on our favorite dramatic couple of the season. Can anything else happen in 3 days' time? All right. So we're talking about Chris and Paige. Yeah. And I'm going to just start this part of the discussion out by saying I'm a little peeved. That's not really the word I want to use. Mm-hmm. I'm a little peeved with the experts and the producers of the program. Okay. So we know, we've often said Married at First Sight is not something that we would recommend to anybody.
True.
Because even though the experts do all of their vetting and putting people together, whatever, you don't know everything, and you are having to start from scratch with someone you don't know. And when and when something like what has happened to Paige tonight happens, there's nothing to build on.
Yeah, that becomes it becomes a deal breaker. I mean, and basically a bombshell. Now, Chris was engaged earlier in the year.
Right.
And broke it off. Now.
But didn't stay out the bed.
Yeah.
Broke it off, but didn't stay out the bed.
Broke it off, but it evidently encountered on multiple occasions, for whatever reason.
For whatever reason, he was consoling her for her father's death.
I'm talking about continuously. That was the most recent instance.
Well, we don't know how often they hooked back up, but bottom line is that he broke off the engagement, but they were still sleeping together. Okay, yeah. So she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Now, okay, we all know how Chris has behaved thus far.
Mm-hmm.
He's behaved in a very self-centered manner.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to tell her, this is your wife, and I get it. This is your wife for 3 days. You've already had sex with her like multiple times, unprotected sex, hoping to build an attraction, finding out that you're not attracted, only to decide that you are attracted. But now you got baby on the scene with an ex-fiance, not just an ex-girlfriend, not just a one-night stand, an ex-fiance.
Right.
And you don't want to tell her because there's no foundation there. And you're scared at how it's going to make you look. And what her response is going to be. Well, what would you think her response is going to be? Anyway. So he tells her, of course, she is like
devastated.
And this is what I don't understand. I don't understand why she didn't pick up her phone immediately and call an expert. There's no way that I'm going to be with somebody that somebody else hooked me up with, and then not let them know the bombshell that was just dropped on my marriage.
Yeah.
I could not be walking around the fog going, what's going on? I'm numb. I don't know. Because you are. But I would be like, excuse me? Do you know who you all matched me up with?
Yeah. Basically, what have y'all done to me?
And that's why I started out by saying I'm really ticked at the producers and the experts. Because I don't know if this is going to change how they vet people. But you're messing with people's lives here.
Yeah. And
she clearly is in this for the real deal.
Yeah. I mean, I really feel for Paige, and it baffles me how Chris feels that everybody's in Paige's corner,
Yeah, now after dinner, saying all the things he said, which sounded really good. You're saying all the right things. You're my priority, Now, and I have to say, he pulls the Bible and God into a lot of stuff, but he mouths it. I don't really see him displaying that. But he mouths God and the Bible a lot. But you're still banging your girlfriend. Okay. Anyway. I'm just saying. Anyway. He said all the right things. And one thing he did say, which is very true, which is also a tip in our book, is that love is a commitment, not a feeling. Although he was trying to manufacture some feeling, banging Paige so that he could see if he was attracted to her. That doesn't sound like commitment.
And that don't make a relationship.
Well, and this is what I'm getting to in a roundabout way is that even though he said all the right things to make her feel good in that moment, it came across as disingenuous.
Yeah. Well.
Because it's been about him all up until this time.
Yeah.
I panicked because I didn't know whether or not I really wanted to be in this. Oh, but you're a wonderful girl and you're beautiful and you're attractive. But I don't want to tell you because I don't want to talk about it. I'm not going to say anything. We're not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it. And then it's like, oh, do you want to talk about it? Okay, I'll talk about it.
Well, how are you feeling about it now that I'm like, no, this is your situation. Yeah, she's in it, but she's in it with you. But all that has gone on has stemmed from you and your behavior. So to me, it's about owning up in a fashion to understand first and foremost where your priorities are. You just married somebody. And to actually want to hide something from them, that's not a solid brick in the foundation
that is going to
relationship.
Affect them.
Exactly.
It's not just affecting you.
Yeah,
it's affecting her.
Just because you just heard it and you got to deal with it and it'll go away. This ain't going away. This is now something that it's affecting you for the rest of life. So to say that you don't want to talk to her or you don't want to tell her about it.
Yeah.
People on the show already know. Don't think that it's not going to get known.
Red flag.
So I'm like.
But she called him on it. Oh, so you feel comfortable telling everybody else?
Yeah.
But you don't feel comfortable telling your wife? She called him on it. And then he had to, go ahead and spill the beans. And I'm glad at least that she felt comfortable going to Brianna. And he felt comfortable going to Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to talk to somebody. If you didn't call those experts, then you had to tell somebody.
Communicate with somebody about it.
I'm also surprised that he shared it with everybody else. Because remember how mad he got because she told his parents that they slept together?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing you don't do in the hood, the one code is you don't talk about your sex life. He is such a study in
flip.
Yeah, flip-flopping. That's good. I was going to say contrast, but flip-flopping when it suits him.
Yeah.
But he did share with everybody, and then he got a little something because everybody's supporting Paige, and I'm just kind of like out here.
And I mean, I understand him really trying to find a hole to go in, but that's because not the situation that that you bought into. Now, again, it would take a strong individual, and I guess I realized how much older I am than for the most part their cast.
Yeah, everybody.
But he's asking them to change the subject. Well, okay, being that all eyes on you, you change the subject. I mean, again, you're uncomfortable, but you don't have to let it just overwhelm you to the point where it affects the whole environment.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just felt he could have dealt with it a whole lot differently.
Paige was holding on to her faith.
Jeez.
Paige was holding on to her spiritual foundation because I don't know, y'all. I don't know if I'd still be there. See, because there's no forgiveness there's no forgiveness built. This is someone you just met 3 days in. There's nothing really built.
Oh, no.
So there's nothing tying me there. I don't owe you anything. You don't really owe me anything. It's the experts and the producers of the show who owe me a lot. Because whatever they did not do put her in this situation.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm blaming the experts and the producers.
Yeah.
Because they really decide who is on the show. And you did not do a good enough job vetting Chris for Paige.
It would be
or for anybody.
It would be disturbing if they were chosen for the drama.
Yeah, that would be really disturbing. And I don't want to believe that. But it's hard to not believe that when he was just out of this relationship and signed up for the show. I'm having a hard time with that.
Yeah, and maybe somebody had, a brilliant idea that, hey, maybe a person who just saw something that just didn't work and he wanted to flip the script and said, okay, well, you choose the one for me. Maybe.
I don't know.
Even then, it's still
it's disturbing because these are people's lives.
Yeah.
These are people's lives.
It's definitely more than a show.
Yeah. And so that was a disturbing issue tonight, and we shall see where it goes. Now, the last thing that he said that really caught my ear when he went off after they were with the couple, because he was just feeling like, everybody's happy, but she's not happy. Really, he's not happy. Okay. He told her, I'm feeling stuck. You just finished telling her how beautiful, wonderful of a person she is. I will stand by you, whatever decision you make. If you decide to go, if you decide to stay, and then you tell her, I'm feeling stuck.
Don't
This
know
is
exactly
why.
what it. Don't know what he felt stuck in because
This
he does not express himself clearly.
No, he says whatever, however it comes
Yeah,
out of his mouth is how he
exactly.
says it, and
Not understanding how it's interpreted and how it's received.
so my thing is, so now you're feeling stuck, which just canceled out everything else that you said before.
Yeah, really. So this is a place that you don't want to be at.
Okay, so we got it. We're gonna have to stop it, right? Because we can just keep talking about this forever, and
really.
we got to see how it plays out next week. But yeah. So on that note, we're going to say goodbye. It's a crappy note to end on, but you know, but that's okay. We'll continue to see how it plays out. We'll continue to talk about it, and until next week, you guys stay safe. Keep those masks on or get that vaccine. Whatever you need to do to keep yourself and your family and others safe
And healthy.
And healthy. So with that, I'm going to say peace.
And enjoy.